Hello guys, it's Penguin, and today we're going to be talking about, well, Wrecker, and shielding in Paladin's Champions of the Realm. I could go through every shield, but I'm just going to use Ashe as an example in the beginning of this video, because I want you to essentially understand what, one of the issues of the item store is right now. In a previous video, I mentioned how Cauterize should be buffed, double support is ass, all that, right? When I say Cauterize needs to be buffed, I also mean Resilience needs to be buffed. Wrecker needs to be buffed. I'm going to focus on shielding and Wrecker for this video.
Idiot. It's not like
Bam! I'm immortal. Kidding. But on the real, for how much Wrecker actually scales, which is 25%, 50%, and 75%, it is so little in comparison to what it used to be. And honestly, that just creates immaculate levels of space. I can show other shields on here, I guess, if you guys really want. So, half shell, only viable talent in high tier competitive play from Makoa. Boom. You know? And the worst part is all the shields have a crazy reset. And so you need a way to burn them. But the issue is you need 2 to 3 to 4 of your teammates to usually go Wrecker to actually have a viable way of removing the shields in a timely manner. And that, to me, is a pretty big issue within this meta currently. It's something that needs to be addressed, well, with the changes, hopefully, that are ensuing. Sorry. I hope that is actually at least mentioned in the upcoming patch. Now we're going to pretty much bring up how to Wrecker affects team compositions and other things in this meta, and how it relates to the 90% Cauterize buff, since this is one of the big issues, I think, in the item store that needs to be changed. A lot of compositions right now have Makoa, Khan, Barrick, fucking, you could say Fernando sometimes, Ashe. All of those have insanely ridiculous shields right now. And a lot of those characters are also nothing without said shields. Currently, with the state Wrecker is in, you have to 3 or 4 man commit to on your team to buying an item to actually deal with it. That might be a little dramatic. Sometimes if you get the correct DPS, like maybe Tiberius, Tyra, sometimes you can 2 or 3 man buy it instead of 3 or 4. However, in the older days of Paladins, when there's a LAN league and in that situation, you really only need 1 or 2 people max to go Wrecker. And the fact that that's such a big item change is really rough if you could draft accordingly. Because you could run double shield, double support, so that way that's 3 items right there. But and what I mean by 3 items is Rezo, Caught, Wrecker, maybe Haven if they're all together. Maybe your team also needs Chronos. You pretty much overstack your team comp to where they don't have enough items fast enough before they lose the game. And if they somehow do struggle to make it to late game, you still won't have enough item slots to actually deal with the bullshit coming through. Now, one of your questions is probably going to be in the comments saying, well, how does buffing these items make it better? Well, if you eliminate some of the things in their kit, like the shield, it does not matter about getting Haven or Caught, because you can have one main person Caught spreading and one main person shield breaking. So that way you wouldn't need to have more people all buy one item to deal with 1 or 2 things on the enemy team composition. If that makes any sense. Essentially the point I'm getting at here with what I've shown you, what I've talked about altogether, is that, well, when they changed Caught, Resilience, and Wrecker back in the start of 2020, it fucked the item store. It changed the prices and how much these items actually do. The point I'm getting at, and the solution that I'm getting at, is pretty much how I dealt with Caught, is you revert the changes. 300 credits per level, more effectiveness. Honestly, it doesn't even have to be the old effectiveness of Wrecker, but just somewhat close to what it used to be. The game had much better stages of play back then. One of the devs, when they first made the changes, is they said they didn't want Caught or Wrecker to feel mandatory. But in doing these changes, they only made it more necessary. So I guess the lesson to be learned here is you have to understand the changes that you are essentially doing to the game, right? And that's why I'm making this video. I want Wrecker to be addressed as well. And when some of the Europeans brought it up to me, I was like, yeah, I should have added that in my last video when me and Fish were talking about the meta and in ranked at least. And at a high level, I didn't really mention this, but I do want this to be mentioned. At a high level, the only real good double support comps are with Grover or Grok. I think I did somewhat mention it, but I think it needs to just fully be addressed. Without those two characters, I don't think you can like double support without Grover or Grok without it being suboptimal compared to a standard comp. Standard being 2 DPS, 2 tanks, 1 solo support. The reasoning for that is you just miss out on a lot of damage and flexibility in draft, and maybe it's vertical mobility, map control, whatever it may be. That just has a big impact on the game. Not to get off topic too much, So yes, as I said, bring back some of the record changes, just like I said with Caught. And honestly, you could do it with Rezil if you really wanted to, but that's maybe for another time. I think that would really, really help with some of the barriers and shields going on right now. It might not help with fucking Terminus, but hey, fuck Terminus. Everyone hates Terminus on every platform of this game. Dumb character, lame, boring. But I would like to be able to shoot Ash Shield and have it feel meaningful. Same with Koa, same with Barrick. Although, I will say, shooting Barrick and Nando's Shield actually feels important because it feels like you are forcing them off of the objective. Versus shooting Ash Shield, as an example, does not feel that important because she just goes around the corner and pokes on the corner. I do think some of these characters without their shields are not very good without their shields. Con, we're looking at you. So maybe we could have slight buffs to their shields with record buffs as well. They come with this. When I say slight, I really do mean slight though, because these characters are very good right now. Tanks in this meta, very good, strong. Which, in my opinion, tanks should kind of rule the meta, and they should control the flow of the game. Support characters with spammable CC that goes through walls or chains off teammates should not control the meta. The easiest roles to get value out of should not control it. One more thing to address is early game, mid game, and late game with this type of record that we're hoping for, or I'm hoping for in this instance. I've heard an argument that said it would essentially ruin mid to late game and would make it to where you wouldn't be able to win fast enough with double shield comps or double support comps to make them actually relevant. And my argument is that's not true, firstly. But secondly, you have to actually win 4-0 or 4-1. These compositions should not do well at a 3-3 level. What I mean by that is, it goes game point, essentially. It just makes sense that it shouldn't, it should work that way. And if you do manage to win and squeeze out a victory in a 3-3 fashion like that, then it means you played it better. Not that you had an advantage in draft, right? A lot of these things that are very frustrating to play against are also very good. Versus things that were annoying or frustrating back in the day or even during PPC were not winning you games. And on Snappin', we actually theorized that Strix, as a console champion when he was broken, as good as he was, did not actually win you games as much as he was annoying as fuck. So you have to understand what wins games and what is annoying. Which is why I sort of said, hey, you need Grover and Grok to actually win in double support, because they're what wins games, right? Furia and Genos do not have the same abilities to win games as they do, which is why I brought that up earlier. So, sorry to get off track again, but that had to be stated. Thank you if you watched the video this far. It's much appreciated. I may leave a little gameplay in the end here. Let me know what you guys think of my new outro that I'll probably be using in the next few videos in the comments as well. I worked pretty hard on it, and I think it is very cool. Thank you again, guys. Have a good one.